Good afternoon. My name is Lalan Prasad. I work for Zscaler, and today we are going to talk about the zero trust revolution and how we are transforming the government cybersecurity landscape. So when I was told to speak today, I was thinking about how do I start it, right? So I thought of asking a few questions about our past journey, like from a digital landscape perspective, where have we come in the last 2 decades? So one of the questions that came to my mind was that what has changed over the last 2 decades in the digital landscape, right? If anyone can answer, can we have a mic?
I mean, one important thing which we really see is the mainframes which has been translated into client servers. Now the client servers, so-called those kind of tenets has been moving into the cloud now. I don't want to use the mainframes kind of thing, but the kind of a purpose-driven that. I think that's one of the largest changes which is happening in the digital landscapes.
Thank you so much, sir. AI to ask any question and it just gives me the answer to that. So this is something that we have come across. A second question which came to my mind was, which is the biggest change that we have seen in the digital landscape post the pandemic or post the COVID. So what is something? Yeah, I see sir's hand there. Thanks a lot. That tells a very important fact that the nature of work offices, people are working from airports, from remote branches. In the government ecosystem, you have lot of offices spread across talukas, gram panchayats, and people all are working in a collaborative manner, and they don't need any kind of hindrances to that. So the last question for the day is that what has not changed in the last 2 decades? I think ma'am raised the hand. Ma'am, if you could just tell us what do you think has not changed over the last 2 decades in the digital landscape?
In the digital landscape. Okay, still people are not able to utilize the online apps or online digital, things which we can do it more simpler way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Ma'am. Thank you. So, what has not changed is the way we are accessing data from a networking standpoint and security standpoint. Why I am saying this statement? The simple reason is, today whatever we are accessing, whether it is an application as e-office as most of the people have already mentioned, or it is any application from your data center, or for that matter any public listed application, those are the things we are using a very as I would say, a very specific thing which was still used 20 years back, that is IP based routing. So whether it is your VPN technology or accessing your firewalls, you are actually using something called as IP based routing. Now the most important thing is, today if I ask you that what is the frequency of you hearing a news about a breach? 2 decades back, yearly or in a 2-year once you hear a news and it is becoming a very big news everywhere, media is covering it and all. Nowadays, breach news, just if it is very devastating, it will find a very small place in your newspaper or your media. That's it, because it is so common these days. Now we have to understand why does that happen, and I am using an analogy of a person who is trying to rob a bank. So Any attack today follows 4 principles. First is your reconnaissance, which is your information gathering or recce as we call it. In this case, the person would like to just go ahead and find out which are the different branches of that bank, right, and which is the least secure, where the security guard has gone ahead and is going for a 1.5 hour lunch break, right, or which is in a very isolated place. Second, he will try to break in. He will try to find one weak link and then he will try to break into that infrastructure. And then he will go around searching for a cache safe and then he will get away with the cache. Let's come to the digital side of it. 4 steps of cyber attack. Any attack you take today, they will follow these 4 principles. First, they need to find your attack surface. When I say attack surface, what does that mean is, we have been speaking to a lot of government organizations and few have told us that one of the easy part for them to host any website or to make their employees access anything, if not VPN, they directly put it on a public internet. They give a static IP and they will just go ahead and publish it. So that it's very easy for them, very convenient for the IT folks as well. So anything which you publish on the internet is your attack surface. This is where you are found by the, the bad guys. What is the public IP? Your firewalls carry a public IP. Your VPNs, concentrator or a configuration or a IPsec tunnel, all of those will have a public IP from where you will be connecting. So today AI is again used to identify your attack surface within seconds, if not minutes. The second step is they compromise you. Lot of times it is done through spear phishing. One small email from your MD of your organization saying that I need this, can you help me, and there is a link and you click. Out of 10,000 employees, even one employee clicks that link, the objective is achieved. Similarly, a vulnerable app user identity is a very big risk today. So identity, applications, all of them compromise, they all can compromise today different techniques. Once the attacker is inside, then what he does, as we call it as the lateral movement. When we talk about lateral movement, that means that specific person who has clicked the link might not be a very IT guy. He could be a reception, a person sitting at the reception. So he will not have those kind of rights or privileges, as we call it. So what the attacker needs is they need to move laterally. When they move laterally, they can discover high value assets, and then if it's a ransomware, they will encrypt it, or if it is a malware, it will go ahead and steal your data, right? So this is how attacks happen today in a very, very simplistic manner. Now, so I work for a company called Zscaler, which has been there for the last 17 years now, and they have seen this transition. The first question which I asked, that what we have seen which has changed. Now everyone has a mobile phone, everyone uses a smartphone, you can check your emails, you can check your private applications and whatnot. So mobility, cloud, lot of things are moving to cloud, right? It's very easy, convenient, and then that's the second part. IoT and the OT infrastructure, that also we have seen the gradual progression over the years. And then of course the AI and ML. I will give you a very nice example of a customer's use case which I was working on in the government sector. So the customer said, I have few developers in my organization who work on our homegrown applications. So government also works on some homegrown application, and they wanted to actually safeguard the critical source code from getting posted outside through chat GPT. This was a use case from a government organization, right? So we have seen how AI, how ML is also transforming the world. But when you have such kind of evolution happening at a very fast pace, how is your network and security architecture looks like? In government organizations, as we speak, you have your centralized way of communication working today. Like you have your data center in the middle, and then you have internet. Sometimes you will be backhauling traffic for accessing internet from remote offices, branches, remote workforce. As we said, I think sir answered that question, that now everything is Zoom. That means people are working remotely, right? So they are connecting over VPN. You have your campus, branch, or your factories, or your third party contractors, third party vendors who are also accessing your resources, and then they are accessing cloud services, they are accessing internet, and then they are accessing your data center. But the overall mechanism is that all of this becomes one big flat network, because either you are connected over MPLS or you are connected over SD-WAN, right? So this is one of the biggest risk factor which is being exploited today, because you are actually connecting based on IP. That means you become a part of the network. So for example, if you are a user, your laptop becomes a part of your data center. So if your user or your endpoint is compromised, your data center is also going to be compromised, because there will be a lateral movement from that malicious entity. So what is the need of the hour? What we saw, and we spent a lot of time doing the architecture for this change. So what Zscaler came up with is a change of architecture, whereas we don't connect based on IP based routing, but instead we connect everything through a zero trust platform, as we call it. We will talk about what that zero trust platform is and how does that architecture work in the next slide. So here what we are saying is, irrespective of who you are, whether you are a user, you are an employee, you are a branch office, you are a manufacturing factory, or you are a third party partner, or for that matter you are a data center. Irrespective of who you are, you will be connecting to zero trust exchange, and the stitching will be done by Zscaler zero trust platform. So when we change this architecture, it becomes very simplistic. Okay, so it works as a switchboard. Let me take just 2 minutes here. So what we are trying to do is that in earlier times we were all using this trunk call based facility, right? I still remember standing outside a STD booth when I was a kid to talk to some relative, and at 9:30, because the charges were low, and even before that, if you want to do a trunk call, I call up a person, that person will patch up the line, and as soon as my talk is over, they will disconnect the line. That is the trunk call booking, as we used to call in the olden days. Zscaler does that in today's world, because what we believe is that if somebody cannot see you, they cannot attack you. So we remove that visibility part of it from the equation at all, whether it is your data center, whether it is your user, whether it is your application or whatnot. So the next slide will talk about what is this architecture all about, what I have been speaking about. So what we say is that from an access perspective, people access only two things. One, a resource which is managed by others, and second, a resource which is managed by the organization. So, in terms of managed by others means that's internet, and managed by others is your data center where you will be hosting your private application. So, in the zero trust world, what happens is that as soon as you access anything, the connection is terminated at the zero trust exchange, obviously because we all want to see what is in the encrypted traffic, because today 99% of the traffic today is all encrypted, HTTPS, right. So, when you are accessing a HTTPS traffic and if there is a malicious entity in it, what do you do, right. So, for that SSL inspection becomes very critical. When you do a SSL inspection, in order to do that, you need to have a full proxy architecture which Zscaler provides. So, when that connection is terminated at the zero trust platform, we initiate a new connection on behalf of the user, and we check for a lot of things, like for example, we check for identity, like stop, who you are, and then we also check that what is your context, where are you going, and then we also check what's the risk. When we say what's the risk, that means you could be accessing a laptop, I mean you are accessing a private application from a laptop which you have brought from your home, or it's a personal endpoint. So, when you do that, we also do check for what kind of health you are carrying as a laptop. So, are you having your antiviruses running, your EDRs running, are they updated or not, and lots of other stuff. So, we check for user risk, we check for device risk, we check for destination risk, and we also check for your content risk. That means nobody from outside countries which are deemed as a threat can access your application, something of that sort. So, when we check all of this, then we take the action. In the traditional world, you have only two options, either to allow a connection or to block a connection. That's it. In the firewall world or any other technology, you will only have these two options, right? But with Zscaler, we also understand that sometimes people might not be doing something intentionally. So, we do have different kinds of policy enforcement actions that we are making available to our customers. So, you have allow, you have block, you have isolate, you have caution, you have deceive, you have privilege, that means traffic prioritization as well. That means in an office, if you are accessing YouTube, you will be allocated a lesser bandwidth, and if you are accessing a private application, you will be given a more bandwidth to it. We also take advantage of niche technologies like deception. That is something which we also do offer as part of the deceiving attacker, where you can actually check your attackers and you can catch them red-handed, and also you are able to track attacks even before they land inside your organization. One of the very key thing that you see here is that the arrow on the data center side is from data center to the application. So, it is not a pass-through architecture as a typical firewall is. So, basically what happens here is that we always initiate the connection from the data center, that is inside out connection. As I said in my previous slide, everything connects to the zero trust platform and nothing goes from the zero trust platform to the data center. That is the key USP in how we are shifting this game, which is traditionally being exploited through technologies like VPN, which are being exploited today. So, with this, your private application or your data center completely becomes invisible to your inside infrastructure also, to your inside employees also, and to outside world as well. So, with zero trust, what do we accomplish, right? So, improving security. So, VPNs, as we all know, that is something that is getting breached day in and day out. So, we are providing a very secure way of accessing use cases around remote workforce, which is a very critical aspect today, and then we are doing a complete redesigning from a network standpoint where we are no longer dependent on IP and routing, we are shifting it to a identity based architecture. Resilience and availability. So today if you have technologies like firewalls, you have technologies like EDRs, and then you have technologies around various other security components, you have different things working in silos. Zscaler as a platform provides most of them under a single platform, single agent. And then the management is in the government organization, we do understand that it has to be some say that we want on-prem, someone says that okay, it's fine with hybrid. So we are basically available in both the models. Quickly, we'll take just 2 minutes on this slide. So basically, this is our complete platform. So as you can see here, we are covering different aspects of the platform, starting from your cyber threat protection, where we are minimizing your attack surface, we are preventing compromise, we are preventing your lateral movement, as well as we are securing all communications. That means we are doing 100% SSL inspection at scale. From the data protection side, we all know, and I think some of the panelists have spoken about the DPDP Act. So if you are talking about how to secure your organizations with data compliance, we are there for you. So we do offer different flavors like data in motion, data in rest. How do you secure your BYOD infrastructure? Today, a lot of government organizations have come to us saying that a lot of my employees are using their own laptop. I don't know from where they have brought it or what is there on that laptop. I have no visibility and they are accessing my application. I am totally clueless. So we do offer different kinds of capability around that, where a person using his own personal laptop cannot access certain things, and he should be able to access it in a very secure manner or a very restrictive manner. So those are the things. We are also having capabilities where you don't need those the virtual desktop infrastructure, VDIs or jump servers and all that stuff. And then we are very strong also in the Gen AI protection for your data, as I mentioned in that example, where you cannot copy a very critical aspect of your source code on a GitHub Copilot from a Gen AI perspective. Then from a zero trust networking, we believe in a concept called working from a cafe. That means it doesn't matter from where you are working. All you need is a connection to our internet, a broadband connection, that's all. And we take care of all the networking part of it, all the stitching part of it. So if you are accessing from your branches, today you might be using technologies like MPLS, SD-WANs, so we can help you in those aspects as well. Securing your IoT and OT communications, and then using our digital experience platform, we can also safeguard your infrastructure and give you a very easier troubleshooting with end-to-end performance. And then the last part is your risk management. So in risk management, we have been innovating, and we have come across, with a lot of innovations. And from a risk management perspective, whether it is your vulnerability discovery, vulnerability management, breach prediction, risk scoring for your organization, unified vulnerability management, attack surface management. So that's the fourth pillar of our platform. So going forward, you will see that once you onboard Zscaler, you will be able to offload a lot of technologies in going forward, right, which you would not be needing once you have onboarded the Zscaler on the Zscaler platform. So these are some of the metrics about Zscaler as a company. We are a very strong financially public listed company, founded by a proud Indian, Mr. Jay Chaudhary. He hails from Himachal Pradesh. $2.5 billion plus in ARR, 45 plus million users are running behind Zscaler. In government ecosystem also, we are there in the central government as well as state government as our customers already. So this slide is basically talking about the diversity of the platform, where we don't only operate in silos, but we can exist in your coexist with your infrastructure, where if you are using any let's say identity provider or a EDR, we can integrate with them and we can give you a much better integrated technology. So with that, please visit us at our booth. Thank you so much, and it was really a pleasant meeting every one of you. Thank you so much.